Hi everyone, welcome back to Forever in High School. I am going to talk about how my first week of Learning Hub went. So today is Friday, July 3rd, so it is a holiday, people are off, and so Learning Hub is also off. We had Learning Hub Monday through Thursday, and that's basically how it's going to go for the next 2 weeks as well, since Learning Hub is 3 weeks total. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm going to try to dive into what we did for the first 4 days of Learning Hub. So I'm just gonna look in my handy dandy phone here, but our internet sucks right now, so I don't know if I'll get through every single day. We'll see. On Monday, it was the first day, so it was pretty crazy. Pretty much the first couple of days, we were scrambling because we were getting new kids. Even on the first day, we were getting new kids walk up to our tables to sign up. We were getting kids coming in on the second day and even on the third day. It wasn't until yesterday that it kind of felt like the dust had settled. So this week was pretty nuts. The first day, all of us teachers we have our own individual table. We were set up outside by our auditorium, and we had students come to the teacher that they were assigned to. So what we did to maintain the social distancing between the kids after they signed in with us was we set up circles of blue tape, and we told them, okay, go stand on that one of the blue tapes in front of our table, and that indicated that they were a part of our class. We started at 8:30, but a lot of them came like 8 o'clock or even before that. A lot of the kids were just standing there with all of their supplies because we gave them a binder, we gave them school supplies that no one else can touch. We gave them a Chromebook because we were going to use technology in Learning Hub, which I'll go over later. So they had all of these supplies and a Chromebook, and they're pretty heavy. And they were just like this lined up, and they were so cute because they were following directions. They weren't complaining or anything, and they didn't sit. And so they were just like on a blue piece of tape, facing each other, like 4 to 6 of them just standing there. And it was pretty crazy because we hadn't set up the Chromebooks yet, so we had to figure out like how to loan the Chromebooks right then and there. There were some kids that didn't even sign a contract to get a loaned Chromebook yet, so that was pretty crazy too. I think I had 3 kids show up for my class that day, which I was supposed to have 7. And so I took the 3 kids and I brought them to the class that we were assigned to for the rest of Learning Hub. I have to look at my notes because so many things went on this week that I tend to forget. Once we got into the classroom, we gave them a whole spiel about what Learning Hub is about, how many credits you earn, the safety procedures that you should follow, like always keep your mask on over your nose, never put it under your nose, never put it under your chin, have it on at all times. We'll have a big hand sanitizer for you to use constantly every time we switch from room to room, because we'll have to switch for PE every day. Make sure that you wipe down the desk because new students will be coming in. That kind of gave me an intro into possibly what the school year is going to look like. But we only had 3 kids that first day. And then after we went over the protocols, we switched for PE, and the PE class that I have is only, during that time it was only 2 kids. One of the objectives for how we're teaching Learning Hub is we want our students to be more tech savvy. We want them to develop an understanding of Google Classroom and Google Docs, Newsela, all of those platforms that teachers will probably have to use in the fall. The very first day, one of the first assignments we gave them was we told them every single day you're going to have to use this planner. And so we gave them a binder, and that's going to act as their planner. They're going to have to write down a checklist every single day. This is part of our study skills class. We want them to develop a skill of being organized and using this strategy to stay on top of their work, because I noticed personally when we did distance learning, a lot of the students tend to forget that they have work or they have things to do online because there's so many tabs that are open constantly, and they have different teachers that want different things from them online. So we are trying to get them into the habit of writing down things they need to get done, things they need to accomplish every day, so they can get into that habit of checking things off. We did PE and we talked about how PE is going to go, what they need to wear every day and all that. We went back to study skills, and then we had them, I forgot what it was, so I have to go back. So their first assignment was basically for them to create the checklist in their planner and to write down the first homework assignment they have, which was to design their planner cover. So on their binder, we gave them a cardstock paper, and then they had to include their culture on there, their name, they cannot use pencil, their hobbies, their interests, and that was going to be due on Wednesday, so they had 2 full days to complete this. And that was basically the first day of Learning Hub. It was a lot because a lot of things were coming at us from different angles, but it was pretty good. I was exhausted by the end of the first day, and I think it's because I hadn't taught in a really long time in a class. And then day 2 came around, which was Tuesday, and then we had more students come in, so we had to add them to our roster. We had to fill them in on how Learning Hub is going to go and all that. They, again, started the routine of creating a checklist for what they were going to do that day. And what we did that day was we set up their school email address and their password. And then we talked about, the importance of keeping your password safe, but make sure that you remember it, because nobody else can help you remember it if you don't know what it was. After we helped them with their email, we set them up on our 2 Google Classrooms for both the study skills class and the PE class. We taught them how to send a proper email. So this was probably one of the best assignments this week. We told them all the parts of an email, very basic level stuff. We gave them an example of an email, like this is an example of a greeting. This is the recipient who you're going to send the email to. This is your body. This is your signature and your closing statement. So we had them practice sending an email to one of the teachers in our Learning Hub program, and they basically had to answer the prompt, did you start on your homework, which was the planner cover? How much of it do you still need to finish? What else? Do you have any concerns? Remember, these are newcomers, these are ELL students, so sending a simple email should be enough for them to, just get their feet wet into the distance learning world. After study skills, they had to go to PE. And what did we do for PE that day? What did we talk about? We talked about finding your heart rate for PE and dynamic versus static stretching. And then we came back to study skills, and they had to type their first assignment on our Google Classroom, where they basically just reflected on how they did during PE today, what did they find interesting, what did they learn about heart rate and whatnot. And that was day 2. So for day 3, their homework was due, their planner cover was due, so they had to present that planner cover they made in front of their classmates. And then we had them get into the habit of checking their emails, because the email that they just practiced sending yesterday, the teacher was going to reply back. And so we want to talk about checking your email every day, making sure that you read it and you understand it, and if you need to respond to that person again, you should do that. We had them practice responding if it was necessary, and then we also taught them about CC, and then we went into PE and they learned about germs, and we talked about the proper ways to wash your hands, the proper ways to sanitize, the proper ways to wipe things down. And then we had them do an obstacle course. So we split them into 2 teams, and then we had them go through each station, like a sanitizing station. We had them lunge to the next station because they had just learned about dynamic stretching the day before. So we were incorporating what they learned the day before. And then they had to grab a wipe, and then they had to wipe the table in front of them, and then they had to tippy-toe to the next station and throw away the wipe and then sanitize again. And then at the very end, they had to practice social distancing from one another. That was a pretty creative way to incorporate good sanitation habits during this pandemic. And then we went back to the classroom for study skills again, and we had them practice using the Google Classroom discussion feature. That was really nice because by the third day, the kids were starting to open up. They weren't as shy anymore. During their planner cover presentations, they were supposed to be taking notes on what are some similarities that you have with these classmates and what are some differences. So in this classroom discussion, they took the time to talk to each other silently in a discussion and say, oh, I noticed that I also speak Samoan just like so-and-so. Or I noticed that I only speak 2 languages, but so-and-so speaks 3. That's amazing. So it was really nice to see that discussion happen on the classroom. So that was day 3. Day 4, which was yesterday, we had them talk about the pandemic in general. And we themed yesterday's lesson on letting go of upsetting emotions. We had a lot of discussion about how do we navigate through these upsetting emotions. And I even, opened up a little bit and talked to them about how I felt back in March when we started distance learning and I was in a really dark place. I missed all of my students and I told them all of that. And so we were able to talk a little bit about how they felt too. And a lot of them said the same thing. They said that they missed their friends the most. With that theme, we had them complete 4 reading assignments. And so they read a couple of articles from Newsella, and I taught them how to adjust their lexile according to their comfortability. And then for PE, we actually made them run. Yesterday, we had them practice some cardio. And so I basically just had my students run up and down stairs in 3-minute intervals. And then we checked our heart rate because we learned about that a couple of days before. And then we came back to study skills. We completed some more articles, and then they had to write down a huge checklist of what their homework assignment was for the weekend. Their last article they read was about how to cope with these upsetting emotions. And so there were 12 strategies, like counting 1 to 10, recognizing your feelings, changing the way you say things, etc. And so what they had to do for homework was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they have to practice one of these strategies and then write a reflection on Google Classroom. And that was the first week of Learning Hub, everybody. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty tired by today. But I'm enjoying it, It's really nice to have only 6 students in a class. It really helps us to stay focused and individualize the learning. But it sucks that we can't have collaborative work. We can't have students work on a poster. We can't have students really talk to each other, like think, pair, share. So it's a strange feeling and world we live in right now. So we'll see how next week goes, how week 2 goes of Learning Hub. Bye!